What's going on, you guys? It's Rahul here, back again with another video, and today I am here with another top 10, in fact the final part of my top 10 players at blank position in the NFL in 2021, and this time we have my top 10 interior defensive linemen. And before this video does get started, I do want to say, if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out my podcast. The link to it is in the description below. I will be uploading there like weekly, so if you guys want to get more sports content from me, go ahead and check it out. But without further ado, let's just get this video started. And at number 10, we have Vita Vea of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, last year, Vita Vea did not play a whole lot of games. He only played like 5 games before, I believe, suffering a broken leg. It was an injury of some sort. He would be out for a really long time. I think he would be good to come back for the Super Bowl. But yeah, he didn't play a whole lot, so I'm not going to include any stats, to be fair to him, like I do for, most players who missed a significant amount of time. But Vita Vea, when he's on the field, is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He's not anything crazy like, a prime John Randall or anything, but Vita Vea is still a pretty decent player, and he's one of the best run defenders in the league, and he was a decent part, a really good contributor to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he was playing last season. I mean, next year, he's going to get the chance again to contribute to one of the best teams in the NFL, and I mean, if they do go back-to-back, I think Vita Vea, if he's on the field, he is going to be a massive part of their success. At number 9, we have Fletcher Cox of the Philadelphia Eagles. Fletcher Cox was pretty good last season. I believe he was a Pro Bowler, and I mean, overall, he was really good. Now, he might be on the wrong side of 30, and he is getting up there in age, and he isn't as good as he once was, but Fletcher Cox is still one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. And he can do anything you want from an interior defensive lineman. He can rush the passer. He is good at stopping the run. And he's also good at getting pressure on the quarterback. And last season, he had 6.5 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble, and 22 pressures. The Eagles, I mean, they aren't going to be, I don't think they'll be a great team next season. But Fletcher Cox, I think he's going to have another good season. I mean, hopefully the Eagles coaching staff does blitz a lot more, because Fletcher Cox, man, he's really good. And that Eagles front 7 is actually not that bad. But anyways, moving on to number 8, we have Quinnen Williams of the New York Jets. Quinnen Williams last season, I mean, he had a pretty decent jump. In his rookie season, it wasn't too good, but I mean, he definitely had a pretty nice improvement in his sophomore season, which, if you're a New York Jets fan, you really love to see it. I think a lot of big defensive tackles, they take a year or two to get used to the NFL, so I guess that bad rookie season was, or not too good rookie season, I guess, is, and kind of understandable and kind of excusable. But yeah, Quinnen Williams had a really good season last year. He can rush the passer, good at pressuring the quarterback, and he's good at stopping the run. And last season, he had 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 10 tackles for a loss, and 20 pressures. And to make his play and his stats even more impressive, his front 7 help and defensive help overall was just not very good. So great stuff for him. And as Quinnen Williams naturally gets better, and I mean, with the addition of guys like Carl Lawson and Sheldon Rankins and, and the guys the New York Jets added in free agency, and Robert Saleh becoming the new head coach, I think Quinnen Williams is going to have a really big season next year. And I mean, Robert Saleh, he's going to have a lot of fun using Quinnen Williams in his defense. I mean, Robert Saleh is an amazing defensive mind, and what can I really say about Quinnen Williams besides he is an amazing player, and this is all coming from a Patriots fan, so that's something. But at number 7, we have Stephon Tuitt of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Stephon Tuitt is one of the most underrated interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He had a career season last year, and it kind of went under the radar, in my opinion. On the Steelers defense, people will talk about guys like TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick and all those guys. And don't get me wrong, those guys on the Steelers defense, they deserve a whole lot of credit. But Stephon Tuitt is an amazing player, and he was a big part of Pittsburgh's defense last year. He does play on a pretty good front 7. I will admit that, but even on a less talented front 7, I still think Stephon Tuitt would be a really good player. And last year, he had 11 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 10 tackles for a loss, and 36 pressures. Overall, amazing stuff. Stephon Tuitt, you could even argue, for him to be a lot higher on this list. Stephon Tuitt, simply put, is just an awesome player. He can rush the passer, good at stopping the run, and he's also good at pressuring the quarterback. But kind of all I have to say for Stephon Tuitt. At number 6, we have Grady Jarrett of the Atlanta Falcons. Grady Jarrett, like Deion Jones, I feel horrible for Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett is one of the most underrated defensive players we have in today's game. He may be on a bad overall defensive unit, but Grady Jarrett as an individual player is awesome. And that bad defense has not exactly stopped him from producing on the field. He's mad underrated, as I said before. And I know the bad unit. I think the fact that he plays on a pretty bad defensive unit and doesn't have a whole lot of front seven help maybe just pass rush help. That makes his play even more impressive. He's good at rushing the quarterback. He can get pressure on the quarterback, and he is good at stopping the run. And overall, Grady Jarrett is an awesome player, and hopefully the Falcons defense can rebuild soon, because if it's a decent unit, then Grady Jarrett will get a lot more recognition. And last year, he had 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, and 30 pressures. Making our way into the top 5, we have Cameron Hayward of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cameron Hayward, despite his age, he's still a really productive player, and he has been a really productive player for a really, really, really long time. He is a big part of the Steelers, as and the Steelers team overall, and a big part of their defense. He's a great veteran presence, and he can help out young guys. And along with that, Cameron Hayward, as I said before, he produces very well, and that's one of the reasons why he lands, at this number 5 spot. Now, I guess you could argue that maybe he should be a little bit lower, but Cameron Hayward, he's a really good player. He can rush the quarterback still. He's still a really good run stopper, and he can still get pressure on the quarterback. And last season, he had 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and 31 pressures. At number 4, we have Leonard Williams of the New York Giants. Leonard Williams is really starting to kind of live up to the potential many people thought he had coming out of USC all the way back in the 2015 NFL draft. And last season, Leonard had the best season of his career with the G-Men. He was a very, very big contributor on one of the best defenses in the NFL. He's amazing at rushing the passer, especially for an interior defensive lineman. He is good at stopping the run, and he is really good when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback. And last season, he had 11.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and 42 pressures. And to make his play even more impressive, again, like some of the other guys on this list, his front pass rush help was not exactly elite, and I gotta say, with the selection of Azeez Ojulari in this past year's NFL draft, if the pass rush can improve, then I think Leonard Williams, maybe he has an even better season. And overall, Leonard Williams is an awesome player. At number 3, we have DeForest Buckner of the Indianapolis Colts. DeForest Buckner, what can I really say besides he's a great player. He can do anything you want from an interior defensive lineman. His pass rush help has never been elite, but despite that, he's still really productive. Well, never been elite. His pass rush help last year was not exactly elite, but he still produced very well. He had 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 10 tackles for loss, and 31 pressures. And I really do hope the Colts pass rush is a little bit better next year, because if it's really good, then DeForest Buckner could possibly have a career season. And DeForest Buckner overall is an awesome player. He can do anything you want from a interior defensive lineman. He can rush the passer, stop the run, and get pressure on the quarterback. The 3 things I look for in the interior defensive lineman. But our runner-up is Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones hasn't been able to, have like a 15-sack season ever since 2018, but that production is not too sustainable, and even then, he's still a fantastic player. Chris is really good at getting pressure on the quarterback. He's really good at rushing the passer, and he's also, he's pretty good at stopping the run as well. And I gotta say, if he had better front 7 help, I think Chris Jones would put up much better numbers. And despite the fact that, he doesn't have very good front 7 help, he still puts up really good numbers. And again, the offense in Kansas City, it might be the star of the show, but Chris Jones is a massive part of their defense and their team as a whole. And last season, he had 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 44 pressures. And at number 1, you know who it is. It's Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I'm going to try and keep this one short, since I think you guys have heard this kind of all the time. I don't want to be, sound like a broken record when it comes to Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald, you knew he was going to be number 1, all right? Despite constant attention, like double teams and even triple teams, AD, he is still just one of the most dominant defensive players of all time, and one of the most dominant defensive players in the NFL. He is good at rushing the quarterback, he can stop the run, and he's good at pressuring the quarterback. He's the reigning defensive player of the year, and maybe the most dominant defensive player in the league since Lawrence Lawrence Taylor. Simply put, Aaron Donald is just a freaking beast. And last season he had 13.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, and 45 pressures. Overall, just awesome stuff. But with that being said, that'll be the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It truly means a lot to me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. And also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy this type of content, so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I am finally going to do a face reveal. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.